Good morning. I'm Ryan, and this is Coffee and Resales. And what I do is I buy stuff at thrift stores and flea markets and garage sales and try to make a little money on it online. Uh, Got an interesting story from this weekend regarding flea market and not doing a flea market. And had some decent sales, including a $50 book. And I got some stuff, it's almost starting to create its own death pile here. So I got some stuff I need to weed through so we can get sold. So let's get started. First off, little story. This past weekend, something I like to usually do is there's a flea market across town. And about once a quarter, I'll take one of my kids and we'll go out to the flea market and sell my excess. It's all here. Not all of it, but a bunch of it's right here. And I'll load it up and we'll go out to the flea market. And $200 is a decent day for me out there. I sell a lot of small stuff, a lot of low price stuff. One of my big sellers is I have bins of Hot Wheels that collect up over time, and I'll put them on the ground, and parent will walk by with their kids and they'll buy a couple cars. I've had days where I've sold $100 in Hot Wheels. Collectors will come by and buy 20 of them. So I sell stuff like that, and usually inexpensive stuff or larger stuff that is in kind of that $10 to $30 range where it's worth what it costs to ship it. Like I had a Vice, an old Vice. Shipping that thing would have been $40 depending on where it was going. And a guy came out, bought it for $12. I still come out of it. I picked it up in a big box full of barn tools and flipped one thing in there for a bunch of money. They covered the whole thing and made profits. So everything else in there is gravy, and so that's what I do at the flea market. Well, I got an idea. This where I'm here now. This is not my home. This is a local telecommute from a real job, and this is where I work. And this is the main business is out of state, and I can do stuff here. And I run my eBay business here as well. And so they have a small parking lot out front. It's a small office building. So it's a decent spot in town. So there are neighborhoods around here. Hey, why not? So I figured I would get some of my tables and set out in the parking lot, put a couple signs out for a yard sale and see what would happen. It didn't work that well. I made just over $60. And yeah, maybe I could put out some more signage, but with the work involved, I'm on the second story, so I got to go up and down stairs to haul boxes of books. And if you ever carried a box of books, that's not light. So I'm going up and down stairs carrying boxes of books. And just, it was a lot more work than just loading my SUV up and driving out to the flea market, which is another 20-30 minutes drive, and paying for a table. Table there, 3 tables is $30. So that was that experience. So I am not going to try, it was worth an experiment. It was worth a shot. If I made $200, I was going to do it again and just stay out here. But the traffic didn't work as well as a nice day out at the flea market. There, all day, even on a nice Saturday, people driving by. Not everybody's, everybody who walks by your table at a flea market looks at it. Everybody who drives by your garage sale doesn't look at it. So that's kind of how that worked out. So learned my lesson, but some things are worth trying just to see how they work out. So that's where that came out. Now, I sold more. I think I made just as much profit off of eBay this weekend as I did trying to sell stuff for cash. So let's jump on that. First off, I had these for way too long, and I'm a little surprised. Peter and the Starcatchers, good series, by the way, by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. Peter and the Starcatchers. Hardcovers. Both of these sold for, and one of the reasons I let them go so cheap is because they've just been sitting for a while. And these two, this went for $8 for these two. Now, if I had the whole series in hardcover, $4 a book. I think there's another 2 books. That would have sold a long time ago for faster, and probably $5 to $6 a book if you got the whole series. So again, this is one of those things. I don't know that I would, unless I see the whole series at one time, that I'm gonna snag this series anymore in hardcover. If I see it in the whole series in paperback or the whole series in hardcover, I'll grab them for $1 a piece or less. But if I don't, I'm not going to get them. I'm going to leave them on the shelf. Some books worth grabbing if you see, because you run into them often enough, or you can sell the books individually. Some series, only grab them if you see all of them. Maybe if you see one, like the first issue missing, and you can get it cheap enough to where you can flip the set and make it worth your while. But filling holes in a series is usually not a way that works. So this next lot, I think this came out of from my 10-cent supplier, and the Sword of Change series by Patricia Bay. 3 paperbacks, decent condition. So sort of a fantasy series, and that went for $7 for those 3. So that's a buck or 2 profit after that ships, and I get my eBay fees out of it. But again, I need to get some of my numbers higher. See if I can. I hit top seller about once a year, and then I mess something up and I lose it. So I'm always trying to fight back for it. Okay, next batch. And I got this not too long ago, so this is a pretty fast flip. This is Ballantines Illustrated History of World War II, about the Waffen SS. Good series to pick up individually because you can lot these up, and you can get anywhere between $5 and $10 per book on some of these. I've actually run into them a couple of times where I've wound up with a big stack of them, able to read and sold every one of them. So. Good series to snag, the Ballantine Illustrated History of World War II. And there's a couple of real similar books that Ballantine put out around this time period. So, good score. Next one is another fun batch. When I had my supplier, these only went for $7. And these are like 1960s and 70s sort of religious pamphlets and Bible study books and that sort of thing. One of the things that preachers around that time period did through about the 80s, probably up before the internet, when you could put all your stuff online and blogs and all that sort of stuff, they would take their sermons and sometimes collect them into pamphlets like this and sell them in magazines or out the church or something like that. Sometimes, or just write invectives and or just some of them were prevalent authors, that sort of thing. I think I've sold 5 or 6 stacks of these, 5 or 6 stacks of small tracts, and a dozen or so like individual ones that I've sold anywhere from $10 to $50 for some of the individual ones if it's the right author. If you get these cheap, if you get find a stack of these at a yard sale or the bins, because these aren't going to make it most of the time to the shelves in Goodwill. So you're going to find these in bins. If you get these for $0.25 a piece or less, grab every one you see, and start looking up them by author. So that's what useful to do. So gotta run through a couple more things because I gotta jump on a phone call. Next is Chemistry of the Blood by M.R. DeHaan. M.R. DeHaan is one of those authors worth picking up. So this one went for $6 or $8. Not a lot, and I've had it for a little bit, but he's an author I pick up every time. I believe I picked this up for 50 cents, $9 for this. So M.R. DeHaan, Chemistry of the Blood. He was a scientist who became a preacher. There's a lot of sort of a relation between religion and science by some of the stuff he wrote. So I grab everything by M.R. DeHaan. I think there's another DeHaan out there like his son. He's not as popular, but he goes. Finally, my big sale. This bad boy, Helena, by Evelyn Waugh, first edition, hardcover, wrapped in like that poly vinyl book cover stuff, so it's protected. It's got a little bit of cover wear. $50. There's some other Evelyn Waugh first edition, first printing, first editions. I don't think the book club stuff is going to go, but $50. I think I started this around 100, 75 to $100, and I've been slowly drawing it down. I think I've had this maybe 6 months, but I knew I had a good find on it. Evelyn Waugh books. I never read her stuff. But I know some of her first editions do pretty good. So that's that. So I have got to jump off. I had a stack of stuff that I might have gone through a little bit, but it's no crazy finds out there. Got some clothes, got some books. Got a pile of not old toys, but cleaned some stuff out of my kids. Out of my kids' stash and out of their rooms, and got some stuff of theirs I'm going to flip. Particularly, one thing we'll jump on, and I've got the bag for this too. This gas mask. It's a modern gas mask. I think this is like $50 to $100. Has the cowl with it, and I've got the gas mask bag for it. The green bag for it. So. This is a fun find at a yard sale, and I had one of my kids played with it a little bit, ran around the house with it, and some costumey stuff. So I'm gonna wind up posting it a little late for Halloween. That would have been a good time to do it, but it'll still go. So at some point, so that's going to go up hopefully today, tomorrow. I'll get this posted. So are you made by me? Anyway, have a good one. Good luck out there.